And we are just getting this in and want to bring it to you. It is the president's latest Truth Social. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. We have complete control. Iran had good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, and plenty of it, but it doesn't compare to American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff, he says. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. From the President of the United States moments ago. All eyes are on him in the White House right now and what the next moves in the conflict will be as it's starting to escalate again and again in the Middle East. New video showing a series of Israeli airstrikes across western Iran. And perhaps that's exactly what President Trump was talking about, controlling that airspace. Those Israeli strikes have taken out dozens of missile launch sites and radars that are spread across the western region there. This is Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner, here with my co-hosts Kayleigh McEnany and Emily Compagno. Also joining us today, Molly Hemingway, Fox News contributor, and Griff Jenkins, Fox News national correspondent. First, though, let's go to senior correspondent Mike Tobin, who is in Tel Aviv for the latest there. Mike, just reading that Truth Social from the president, talking about that control in the skies now over Iran and those particular areas that we've been watching.
And what he's talking about is the fact that the Israeli fighter jets have been able to do what they want in Iranian airspace. They've been busy over western Iran today. Israel says that they took out dozens of surface-to-surface missiles. Those are the kind of things that Iran has been firing here in the direction of Tel Aviv and greater Israel. They also claim that they have taken out surface-to-air missiles and radar installations. The Israelis, in line with what President Trump is saying, have said that they have degraded the Iranian air defenses to such an extent that they have air superiority, meaning they can do whatever they want in Iranian airspace. And Israel's defense minister says more significant targets in Iran will be struck today, and maybe we'll learn about those in the coming hours. He also warned the Grand Ayatollah Ali Khamenei that if he continues to fire missiles at Israel, he could very well meet the same fate as Saddam Hussein.
I warn the Iranian dictator from continuing to commit war crimes, firing missiles at Israeli citizens. He should remember what happened to the dictator in the country neighboring Iran, who took this path against the state of Israel.
Now, with the strikes, an exodus formed up and created a massive traffic jam coming out of Tehran. Lines also formed up at gas stations. And this was before President Trump posted on Truth Social that the people in Tehran need to evacuate. Iran continues to fire missiles at Israel. But what we're seeing, at least today, is that the size and intensity of those attacks have decreased dramatically. That attack just a little over an hour ago may have involved as few as 2 Iranian missiles. The IDF says they shot one of those down. Earlier this morning, we saw an attack involving some 20 Iranian missiles. 4 of those got through and hit just north of Tel Aviv, resulting in no injuries. But you compare that to previous days in which hundreds of missiles and drones were fired at Israel. Harris?
Mike, you may know the name Yadlin. He is the former Israeli intelligence head for the military in Israel. And what General Yadlin told me last hour was that, yes, they have dramatically, decreased the number of missiles coming in. They're looking for some help. It could come in the form of a friend. We don't know. He said they could just be resetting at this point, so they're keeping all eyes to the sky. They're acting like, this is the conflict that it is.
Well, certainly. But all we can go on right now is what we're seeing. We saw those massive missile barrages coming in previous days, and the numbers are dramatically down today, resulting in no injuries. And in fact, what an Israeli military official told me earlier today is that the attacks just haven't been impactful.
All right. Well, thank goodness for that. Mike Tobin, thank you very much. The president is back in the United States after cutting short his appearance at the G7 summit in Canada. President Trump has told Iran to tread carefully and not to lay a finger on U.S. troops or innocent civilians in the Middle East. He also doubled down on his belief that a nuclear Iran needs to remain off the table. Trump posted this on Truth Social. We started here. Iran should have signed the deal. I told them to sign. What a shame and waste of human life. simply stated Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I said it over and over again. Everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. Meanwhile, more than 300,000 people have been warned to evacuate the capital city of Iran. As Israel's Operation Rising Lion only intensifies at this point, videos showing long lines of cars fleeing the city, and we know that gas stations were bumper to bumper as people were trying to fuel up. Trump told reporters that he wants peace and he wants the bloodshed on both sides to cease.
What was the thinking on the call for Tehran to evacuate? Is there a threat or is there incoming? What was the thinking on the full evacuation?
I want people to be safe. And that's always possible. I think like that could happen. I just want people to be safe.
What specifically is better than a ceasefire? What are you looking for here?
An end. A real end, not a ceasefire. An end.
So something that would be permanent.
Or giving up entirely.
Is that okay too? Are you close there? Is that possible? Is that possible in the next 24 hours?
Why not? Certainly possible. Complete give up. That's possible. The cities have been blown to pieces and we've lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them, do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate now.
Molly, your reaction?
Well, it's been such a dramatic, interesting couple of days here. But I think one thing that was interesting was that President Trump reminded people, he said repeatedly, Iran cannot be trusted to have nuclear weapons capabilities. He has not been ambiguous about it. He said it over and over again. And I think people are pretty happy with how things are going thus far. They're also understandably worried about this becoming yet another regime change war in the Middle East, which nobody voted for. But it's why it's good to hear what the president has to say. And he seems to be, he's earned a bit of credibility because of how he's handled so many conflicts in the past. And so I think that's why so many Americans are feeling okay about it thus far.
And to the point that you're making, the Vice President, J.D. Vance, posted this just a very few minutes ago. It's a lengthy post, and Griff, I'll just drill down on it. That decision, what you're talking about, whether or not we would get involved with Israel, ultimately belongs to the president. And of course, people are right to be worried about foreign engagement after the last 25 years of idiotic foreign policy. But I believe the president has earned some of the trust on this issue, just what you were saying, credibility. But I believe the president has earned that. And having seen this up close and personal, I can assure you that he is only interested in using the American military to accomplish American people's goals. Whatever he does, that is his focus. Griff.
Yeah, and that last point, I think, is really important because while we're hearing in the Israeli media that regime change may be on the table, obviously the Ayatollah is thinking, well, wait a minute, if it's existential for my future, then maybe I've got to get to the negotiating table and do a deal. But President Trump, the tell is where Molly puts it. No matter what, Iran can't have a nuke. And we know in that one site, Fordo, where they have uranium under a mountain, there's only one weapon that can do it. It's a massive ordnance penetrator, the GBU-57. It's a 30,000-pound bomb that could take that out. The Israelis don't have it, and they don't have the planes that can fly it. Only B-2 bombers can fly that and carry a bomb that big. And so that would mean American pilots flying American planes with American bombs. That's the stakes in what I think Politico is right. This is a moment of truth for President Trump. Ultimately, I think the president wants to see simply Iran without a nuke and some peace come. But the fact that we now know through Mike's great reporting that Israel has air superiority over Iran, it's really boxed Khamenei in to really make some tough decisions.
Yeah, and the president putting that out on his Truth Social as we were coming to air, too, that they've got that air superiority. Kayleigh, you've been with this president in his first term when he was making decisively moves and military in mind. What do you make of the moment that we're in right now?
We're in a moment where very big decisions are afoot. You can read that in his tweets that you just displayed. Big, world-changing, life-changing, once-in-a-generation decisions are being made in the Situation Room as we speak. And I think it's very important to say that America first does not mean let's be Neville Chamberlain. America first sometimes means acting with strength on behalf of American interest. And when you look at what we've gotten in talking to Iran, not for 60 days, we've talked to Iran for nearly 5 decades, nearly half a century.
Right.
Guess what that has gotten us? Talking to Iran has gotten us American hostages, some of whom have been killed. Talking to Iran got us 609 dead American troops at the hands of Iranian proxies in Iraq. Talking to Iran got chance of death to America. Talking to Iran got an assassination threat against President Trump. Trump doesn't talk. He's a man of action. Biden talks. Biden says don't. And what did don't get us? It got us 2 global wars, and it got us the fall of a country. President Trump, who I had the pleasure of seeing make these decisions in real time, acted. He killed Soleimani. People said that was audacious. He killed al-Baghdadi. He went into Syria when it necessitated it, and they used chemical weapons. He is a man of action. He has earned the trust of the American people. Millions of people are behind him, and it may mean acting to take out that Fordo nuclear site. And he has earned the trust of the American people, as J.D. Vance underscored.
So you and Molly making this point.
Yeah.
Trust and credibility President Trump has on this issue. Emily.
Yeah, and interestingly, there's a group of voices right now, especially among the Conservative Party, that's highlighting the fact that this president campaigned on peace. And they say, well, this would be anything but, right? All of these other prior wars started easily, but then they ended up being endless. And is this what's going to happen now? But the president has himself made the point that you just did, Kayleigh, which is inaction does not necessarily mean protecting and prioritizing American interests. And sometimes the way to preserve peace through strength is to take some action that will then protect as an investment American interests and our allied interests. And it's like Mark Levin said earlier, right? Isolationism is not the right thing to do because that allows them to continue festering. And I know Michael Oren, the Israeli former ambassador to the United States, he said the opportunity right now for President Trump to be the peacemaker of the century, he said, was profound. He said up until now, presidents, U.S. presidents and more have tried to curb Iran's nuclear capability. Here, finally, we have a commander-in-chief who will not only curb but eradicate their nuclear potentials. And he said, up until now, people talk euphemistically about Iran's malign behavior, right? They are the world's foremost state sponsor of terrorism. When will this end but for the potential we have now? And I think it bears worth repeating as well. The sovereignty of the neighboring countries, their silence right now, many who have been up until now anti-Israel and anti-Semitic that are now quiet because they are relieved and they are hopeful at the potential for Iran to not only have their nuclear program ended, but for potentially the failure of the Islamic Republic, supported by Iran's youth and more. That would be, again, the peacemaking deal of the century. And I think
it's also true, though, I think it needs to be reminded that these things can quickly spiral out of control.
That's right.
And regime change is incredibly destabilizing. A regime change in Iran would make Iraq and Afghanistan look like a cakewalk. And the American people are not getting over that, and they do not want to get embroiled. And so you have to be cautious and prudent as well.
As you bring that up, I appreciate VP Vance's social media and the president so much more just giving us an inside view of this, because mission creep is what you're talking about. We go in with one indication of mission, and then we just creep our way away from it for years, and the American public will say no to that.
Can I just add one last thing, and that is, Kayleigh was talking about Biden. Take stock. It was June of last year that President Biden was at the G7 in Italy, and he wandered off into a field. Now we have President Trump, who is leaving the G7 early with the weight of the world and the safety and security of the world on his shoulders.
And guess what?
Definitely not lost in the jungle.
3 American troops killed in Jordan at the hands of Iran because of words instead of action under Biden. That was last year.
All right.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Compagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.